Thanks so much for listening to No Lions Here with me, Big Panda. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to No Lions Here. My name is Big Panda, and I'm a recovering sex addict. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing well. You know what? First and foremost, before we get into it, just a couple updates. Want to let you guys know that I have created social media accounts for the podcast. So go check those out. Go give me a subscribe. I'm on Instagram. It's no underscore lions underscore here. And that's the same across the board for Instagram and YouTube. So go check those out. Go give me a follow. Gonna start posting to those, just trying to, spread the message. I'm sure some of you guys can relate that social media has been something that, when I first got into recovery, that I gave up. And really had no intention on ever going back to it. But realizing that, one, I'm in a completely different place in my program than I was before. And two, just, kind of setting up some boundaries around those as far as, not having those apps on my phone and keeping them on my computer that I keep here at the studio. And also realizing too that like the algorithm is a big thing, right? Like if I'm on Instagram and I'm looking up Instagram models, well then that's gonna be like what my timeline is filled with, opposed to getting on and following a bunch of recovery people. And there's a really great recovery community on Instagram. And so following those people, so that's kind of what my algorithm's going to be like. So I feel pretty good with being able to kind of handle those. And also too, that for me, that's kind of the next step as far as getting the podcast out there. I've been doing this for, almost 2 years now, and it's been all kind of word of mouth. And actually, I've really been able to grow and push this, but with the goals that I have for the podcast and wanting to take this to the next level, realizing that like I needed to do something different. So I'm going to start posting long form videos and clips, and things like that. And, I'm in a really great spot right now, just as far as like what I have going on. Now there's some turmoil underneath that, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. But right now I'm in the studio. I'm recording. I had my buddy come in town from out of town. He brought me a bunch of stuff. So we've got cameras rigged up. As you can see on the video, there are multiple camera angles, and I can actually switch through them. I can get this angle. Hey everybody. There's this angle from back behind me. Hello. And then here's the straight on view. And so it's just, man, I'm like just so blessed with all of this right now. Like this is all just really, really cool, really exciting stuff to just kind of like move the podcast forward. So definitely go check out the socials. I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be shouting those out. I'm going to post them in the description as well. Obviously just trying to gain some more traction. Again, the support and the following that I've gotten has been just absolutely amazing. And I'm very blessed and grateful for that. And you know what? Just, again, I want to push this to the next level. So that's kind of what we're trying to do now. Let's see. So let's update. Where have I been? What have I been doing? I think the last time I spoke to you guys, I was getting ready to go up and play in a tournament in Indiana for hockey. And it was a good time. It was definitely challenging. I was able to stay sober that weekend, which was kind of one of my fears. Like traveling for me can be, difficult. in the past when I've traveled, I've almost viewed it as, okay, nobody's gonna know me around here, so I can like really like put myself out there as far as trying to act out, trying to meet somebody, that type of situation. So I had some fears going into that. And then also too, and then you add in hockey, and for me, hockey is as healthy as it is. Like, I can really get down on myself. I've talked about this before, but like, I can really get down on myself when I'm playing and I'm not winning, right? And I know that life is not always about winning, but like, that was kind of like, the mindset growing up was like, man, if you're not winning, if you're not playing, then I'm not getting the attention that I want. And it was funny. The first game that we played, we ended up playing against a YouTuber. His name's Nasher. And he does a bunch of roller hockey content as well as video game content, and they're out of Columbus, Ohio. And so this dude plays with the GoPro on his helmets, and he had a cameraman on the bench. So he scored on me. He scored one goal on me. We actually ended up tying that game 6-6. And I mean, these tournaments you go to, these tournaments are like legit. There's the competition there is unlike anything that I see around where I live. Like, don't get me wrong, there's good guys in the area and there's good teams in the area that I play, but you go to these kinds of tournaments and it just brings out like guys that have been playing together for 15, 20 years. And it's just a different style of hockey too. But just great experience though, just an absolutely awesome experience. And I'm really glad that I got a chance to go and play. So, we're playing this guy, this YouTuber. He's got like 700,000 subscribers on YouTube, and he scored on me first period. My first periods are notoriously like not the best periods. I think it's a mix of like the jitters, like anxiety and nerves playing in that. I'm almost like overly excited, right? Like, and normally my second periods are a lot better. I really kind of calm down in the second period. So this guy scores on me, right? It was a good shot. I was right on it, but it was a good shot right over my blocker side. And literally like 30 minutes after the game, he had clipped it and posted it to all of his social medias. So 30 minutes after the game, it's just there's a video of me just getting scored on. So honestly, like I could have been really like discouraged by that. However, though, like it and actually I played it off really well and was actually okay with it. Like, hey, it's all good. Like, he was a good guy. He was a good player. And so like the rest of the weekend, like at this tournament, there's kids from 6 all the way up to 40s and 50-year-old guys. Like, so there's just this giant mix of hockey players there, and all these little kids are running around, and the kids love Nasher. And so a couple of my buddies were there, and they had their kids, and they're like talking about Nasher, and I was like, "Hey, did you see him score on me?" He scored on me. He posted it. So that was kind of interesting. The biggest thing that I had to deal with that weekend was just like the guy talk. Just the guy talk, that locker room talk. You get a bunch of guys together and it's just, at one point in time, guys are basically like passing porn around on their phones, and I'm really happy that I didn't give in, right? Like, I wasn't like, oh, well, let me see that. But it was just, it still was like really uncomfortable and like really draining, just kind of spiritually. Like, it was tough, and then we didn't win any games. We went 0-3-1. So then that kind of weighed on me too, and it just was, while it was it had a good moments and it was a good experience, like it was a struggle. I was definitely like happy to get home. That's for sure. So yeah, I'm glad that I went, and I think next year this tournament's actually in the city that I live just outside of. So there won't be any travel for it next year or anything like that. Like I'll be able to come home and sleep in my own bed and stuff like that. So um, I'm excited for that. Just and you know what, like I'm just really grateful that I get to play a sport that I love to play, and that I'm healthy enough to continue to get out there and play and compete. Like, such a big part of me. It's not the only part of me, but it's such a big part of me that I need that outlet to just kind of help kind of keep me sane. I honestly don't know what I would do if I wasn't able to compete and have that competition in my life. So I'm very, very grateful for that, that I have that. You know, as far as, everything else going on, I got accepted into the recovery coach class that I applied for. So I'm super excited about that. Last week I had orientation for that. And, like with the studio, it's really been I've really been stressing about the financial side of things. Like finances are a big stressor for me, a big trigger for me. I don't know. I don't make a lot of money. And I'm not great at like budgeting, and I'm just not good at money management. I pay my bills. My bills get paid. But there's other things and other expenses that I need to look at, and it's just really hard for me to do that. So in taking over the studio, that's another financial burden that I knew, okay, hey, like I can get by for a couple months, and I can make it work. But still, just like having those doubts in my mind of like, okay, I don't know where, I can maybe get through October, but other than that, like I don't know what else I'm going to be able to do. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep this, and just really been praying about it, right? And like a lot of this stuff is like, yeah, absolutely, like I could just do this in my bedroom at home. However, I like that I have this separate space for me, and that this space is a safe place for me, to where I can come and just, be myself, sit here and talk to you guys and be vulnerable. It's hard. It's kind of hard for me to do that at home. But also too, like, accepting that, hey, okay, you know what, the studio might not work out, and I may have to, stick to doing this at home. And, okay, God, like, you know what, like, show me what you want me to do, and just guide me through this. Something that I've had to have faith and trust in God to lead me to an answer. And just trust that, like, no matter what, like, God is going to help me provide. And God, you know what? You bring things into my life, and if they're meant to be, they're going to stick around. And if they're not, then you know what? God's going to take them from me. And I accept that. Sometimes I don't like that. But, my wants don't always align with what I need. And so that's where, I have to trust and ask God and be okay with that answer. It's like, if I don't get what I want, you know what? I have to be okay with that. So started this recovery coach course last week, and found out that I actually get some reimbursements. Not only am I getting paid through the program, but I also get some reimbursements as far as for expenses just around my recovery and my emotional well-being. And so the studio is definitely like tied in with that. And I checked it with my sponsor and some other people, just making sure that I'm going about things the right way. But it looks like I am going to be able to, get some of the rent covered through this course. And you know what? That's a big relief for me. And one that it came about in a way that I did not expect, and that's how God works, and that's how the program works, right? Like, there's something that I want, and I don't know how I'm gonna make it happen, and you go through all these different scenarios in your head of like, okay, maybe this is how I get, maybe this is how I make this, maybe that's how I make this, like, but just not really knowing, and then when you least expect it, and when you're in a place where you're not searching for it, boom, like you get an answer. So I totally got an answer on that, and man, that just, like, I'm gonna get 6-7 months of runway here that I'm not gonna have to stress about, and that's gonna give me time to kind of build things up in the studio with the podcast and the socials, and and then, because what I've been trying to do is, ask family and friends for investments, and that hasn't been going well. I'm not a big salesman. I don't like asking people for money. I don't like that at all. I'm not good at that, and so that was like really scary, like putting together basically a slideshow, kind of talking about like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is the analytics. This is the plan. Like, basically putting together a business plan for the podcast, which, it's really tough because it's like, what? There's no like physical service or good that I'm selling or creating. And so it was like, I mean, it's anytime you're asking for investments, like people on the other end, like that's a big risk. And so, I had some good conversation with some friends, and, there were some hard things that I kind of had to look at and take into consideration. But basically, like, I was like, I got really discouraged at one point, like, man, I don't know how I'm going to make this happen. Like, investors they're not flocking in, this is tough. So right now with where I'm at, like, would I like the investors? Yes. However, with where I'm at and finding out about these reimbursements, like, I'm not going to need the investors just yet. I've got some time to, again, progress and grow the podcast on some different platforms, and then from there kind of figure out, okay, what else do I need going forward? So that's been huge. Again, just that stress-free feeling is like really nice. So found that out, and I'm really excited to go forward in this course and to learn more. And I'm also like really scared though too, guys. Like, fear is a big part of me, is a big part of my upbringing, and just there's a lot of fear because I'm sitting here going like, I don't want to do this stuff. I don't know how to do this stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not good at this. I'm going to fail. And when I fail, I'm not going to be able to bounce back. Which is like, that is like really hard for me to move through and to get past that, because that is just so deeply ingrained in me that, like, I'm just not safe, and that I'm not okay. And I was thinking about this recently, like, where does that come from? Like, why do I always catastrophize? Because this is what I do. Like, why do I catastrophize every situation, every scenario, no matter what it is, all the way down to just like the worst thing's gonna happen to me, and I'm like, where is this coming from? What started all of this? And you got to go back to the childhood and take a look at that, and I think it comes down to just like being a kid, just not getting what I needed, like even just that safety, that security, like I didn't have that. And so of course in my adult age, like I'm terrified that everything's gonna go wrong, because if I look back at my childhood, things went wrong, and I wasn't, I didn't feel safe, and that bad things did happen to me, and so I'm just so afraid that is just gonna I'm just afraid that is like that's part of me. Not necessarily because I'm a bad person. Because it's not like I think that, like, oh, okay, like bad things happen to bad people. I just think that bad things are just gonna happen to me, because that's just, I don't know. Maybe, this interesting thought. Maybe it is something along the lines of like, maybe I don't deserve this. But that thought, that idea that I'm a bad person, like, isn't so much there for me. It's more, yeah, I don't know. That's something that I'm gonna have to keep thinking about. But like, just where's that coming from? But also too, like, again, like not trying to dig too hard at it either, because that doesn't that doesn't get me anywhere when I sit and try to dig at something like that. So yeah, that's, I don't know, it's just a lot of fear, right? Like, so going back to school, afraid that I'm not gonna catch on. The also the other, like, really big fear of mine in going to school is that, like, so this is recovery coaching, and it's mainly for drugs and alcohol, and here I am in recovery, and so there's a fear. There's 29 people in the class. There's 6 guys, 23 women. And that's the other thing too, is like, and I'm sure that other people can relate, but like, seeing that there's 23 women and 6 guys, like, oh, maybe there's somebody I'm gonna meet here. Maybe I'm gonna meet somebody. I might meet my partner in this class. And I'll sit here and tell you guys now, I don't believe that that's the case at all. But it's just the thoughts that I can come up with when I'm in, when I'm just thinking about certain things. But like, we went around the first night. Orientation was like, all right, introductions. So we're gonna go around, we're gonna introduce ourselves, and people are like, oh, I'm so and so, and meth addict, heroin addict, in recovery, 17 years, 12 years, 5 years, 6 years sober, whatever it was. And I'm just like, do I say that I'm a recovering sex addict? And what are people going to think of me when I say that out loud in this big class? I think that it's safe to say that I am the only one in there. Now, I don't know for sure. This is me making assumptions, totally. But I don't know for sure. But I'm the only one in here that is in S recovery. And how is that going to be perceived by the group, right? Like, how am I going to be viewed when I finally come out and tell people, like, hey, I'm a sex addict, and I am in recovery for sexual addiction, which is like, there's times in the real world when I talk to people, like I'm fairly open with being in recovery, and I have the substance side of things because I am also a cocaine addict. So like I have the substance side, and that I'm pretty open with that with people. Not nearly as open as I was when I first got into recovery. I remember when I first got into recovery, it was like somebody would be like, "How's your day going?" And I'd be like, "I'm in recovery and I'm not doing well." And then people were just kind of like, "Whoa!" Like it's a lot to put on somebody. And also realizing that like kind of setting a boundary for myself is that like not everybody deserves to know my full story. Some people do. But like I think that at the beginning I was so desperate to be heard by those around me, that I'm automatically jumped just straight into it. And so being in this course, and I talked to my sponsor about this, was like, how honest do I be at the beginning? Because like I don't want to, duplicity is something that me and my sponsor talk about a lot, and that's like duplicitous. Like, what am I doing? Does what I'm doing on the outside match the inside? And so I want to make sure that I'm clean and not duplicitous in the things that I'm doing in my life and my recovery. And so it's like, by not coming out and saying in my introduction, "Hi, I'm a recovering sex addict," does that make me duplicitous? And it's like, you know what? Like, not necessarily. Like, this is this course I'm going to be interacting with these people for the next class. Runs from August to December, and then we go intern, and we so coming out on it the first night, that's okay. I kind of came to that conclusion in talking to it with multiple people. Like, it's okay if I don't come straight out and say like, "Yes, hello, I'm a sex addict," and that it will eventually come out, and that's okay. But man, that is just still so freaking scary. Oh, so scary. And even though like my goal and my idea of what freedom is to me is like being able to stand in front of a room of people and say, "Hello, I'm a recovering sex addict," and not care what the perception is of me. Right? Like, I'm still kind of getting to these places where I want to manage people's perception of me. And hopefully in managing that perception of me, I am somebody that people like. I am somebody that people want to be around, people want to talk to. But again, going back to that, because again, that's all part of like control. Again, like I want to manage your perception of me, and I want to be the one that is the gatekeeper that says no. Like, I want everybody to want to be in my life and be around me and be involved with me, but then I want to have the decision to say, "Nope, I'm gonna go ahead and stop you there. You want it, but I don't, so I'm in control. So nope, you're not allowed in." And that's totally like the control piece there, like totally control. So and I've gotten a lot better with that. But it's still something that I struggle with. Again, these issues. Sometimes I feel like I'm a broken record. I know I've talked about all of this stuff on here before, but it's things that constantly keep coming up in my life, and God is showing me the things and the areas that I need to be working on. And I'm really, really grateful for that. Like, the awareness that I have around myself, what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, is great. I'm more aware than I've ever been in my entire life, and that's definitely like a gift of the program. And I'm very grateful for that. However, and I shared this recently at my home group meeting, was like, I had this view of awareness that like, oh, because people are always like, "Oh man, you're so aware. Like you've got really good self awareness," and that was definitely like I was like very prideful of that. But you know what? Like realizing that, like, yes, awareness is great. Like we need that self awareness, right, in order to see what's going on. That's how you kind of stop the duplicity. Ooh, that's try saying that 3 times fast, and then let me know how it goes. Um, but like that awareness doesn't equal solution. And that was something that I just really got caught up in. Um, was like, yeah, I'm super aware. Well, why is that not fixing my problems? Why am I still having these problems? Why am I still running back to these behaviors? I'm aware. I know what's going on. Um, and it's just like, it doesn't always, um, just because I'm aware doesn't mean that I'm aware of the solution. I'm aware of what's going on with me, but that doesn't equal a solution, an immediate solution. Um, so that's something that I've been, definitely trying to look at recently as well. Just taking a look at all that, and then, on the other side of this, it's like, okay, I've got some really great things going on, right? Like the studio looks beautiful. Like this is not what it looked like when I was in here recording before. Like we have added a bunch of stuff. So like I'm so grateful for that, and then getting the prayer answered around the finances on, keeping this place running. Man, I'm again so grateful for that. And then like, all right, now I'm in school to become a recovery coach, and in telling people, I've had multiple guys be like, I want to be your guinea pig, I want to be a client, and like one, like that feels really good. Like clearly these people see something in my program that they want, and think that I can, add to their recovery. So that feels really good. I'm like, that's awesome. But it's almost like, so, okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself here. So I've got the studio going, right? Got going back to school. Man, like, there are 2 like really scary things for me because I don't know what I'm doing. With this video editing, and is this school really what I want to do? Is this, really scared, right? So the little kid inside of me is like really scared. This is something new. School, more work, like really, really scary. And then I don't have a partner, right? Like the little kid inside of me doesn't have a mom to go to when things are tough and say, oh, I'm so scared. Will you just hold me and love me and tell me that everything is going to be okay? And that is like really uncomfortable because, like, again, the little kid inside of me just wants his mom to love him and support him. And when I have a rough day or I'm really scared, like, I just want to go to her and say, hey, I'm really scared. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm scared I'm going to fail. And he just wants his mom to just hold him and say, it's okay. It's going to be okay. You're going to do great. I'm really sorry that you're going through this, and I'm sorry that this is scary for you. But you're going to do great. I believe in you. So, like, not having that. And then that for adult me translates to, I don't have a partner right now to go home to. And again, say the same things. I'm scared. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm afraid I'm going to fail. I need you to just hold me and tell me that it's going to be okay. And so yeah, not having all this fear, and then not having, that mother figure, that woman figure in my life to, you know, ease the fears, is it's tough, because then and I'm not alone, right? Like, so I'm not alone. I have program friends. I have other people love me. I'm very loved. I'm very supported. But with this addiction and where it stems from, for me, being that mother enmeshed man, like, whew, when I don't have that love and affection or special status of a woman, and I'm in these very scary and uncomfortable places, it's very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. And then that is when I run and turn to old behaviors. Because as we all know, sex addiction is not about the sex. It's about control, validation, security. And you can often, my brain thinks that I can find those in sex. Well, actually, and you know what? Hold on, like, it's not even my brain. It is my brain. There's people have this idea that addiction is this green little goblin, running around my head that just wants to just party and tear the whole thing down. And, like, let's set this bitch on fire. But it's really, it's not that. This all stems from, the little kid inside of me and the adolescent, right? I talked about this recently. Like, the adolescent feels all of our wounds, carries all of our wounds. And then the adolescent comes in and goes, man, my little man's hurting. And, okay, well, I know what we can do. When that's either turned into drugs, alcohol, or in my case, sex. In my experience, that is very true. It's not a green little goblin running around. It's my younger selves inside of me trapped, wanting to get out. It's kind of like that burning car analogy, man. When I'm inflamed, it's like the car's on fire. Shout out to the episode with Nate Geyer, Out of the Flames. My little kid is trapped in a burning car, and my adolescent's going, man, come on, man, I'll get us out of here for a little bit anyway. Right? Like, and it's never, acting out, using, it's never the end all solution, right? It's a Band-Aid that you slap on. And I don't know if you've ever seen, like, an adolescent try to put on a Band-Aid. Like, it's not as good. What an interesting picture I just had in my head around that. That Band-Aid's not going to hold. Just like these behaviors, they're not going to sustain me. But yeah, guys, I still just really struggle with that, though. I really struggle with that. And then I get frustrated with myself. And it's like I don't have grace and compassion for myself around this stuff. And then just realizing that, like, man, I got a lot going on. And it's I'm in a very uncomfortable spot right now. Very uncomfortable. Great things, right? Like, and that's, like, I don't know, that's kind of like a weird thing to me, is like, they're like, in the midst of great things and opportunities for me in my life right now, that there is this level of uncomfortableness. And I guess it makes sense. Now that I'm thinking about it and talking about it in this way, it's like, it makes sense. It makes sense that I'm super uncomfortable. Because with new things comes a lot of fear, back to fear. Because for me, that's really what it funnels down to. Fear of I'm not good enough, fear that I'm going to fail. And there's going to be embarrassment with that. Yeah, that's... Yeah, so like... Because again, I'm sitting here going, man, I've got some really great things going on, but like, why am I still just so uncomfortable? And why do I just want to run? Why do I want to escape? Why do I want to numb? Like, why do I want to do these things? I got God's over here answering my prayers. I don't want to jeopardize that. I don't want to throw that all away. And I don't, I don't think that I don't think that I'm going to throw it all away. And I don't think that I'm going to spoil it, right? Like, because whatever we go through, I'm a firm believer that, this was written into my story. Like, the bumps and bruises and hits that I take along the way, like, that's all part of my story. And that was predetermined for my life before I was even born. And that, and I know other people, deal with this too, but like, it's like, oh, well, that idea of God, the idea of my higher power saying, man, I had such an amazing plan for you. And then you went and masturbated, man. Like, well, I have to go rewrite this now because I didn't see that coming. And I don't really know what to do with you right now. Like, sometimes I feel like that is the view that my higher power has of me. What's the truth and what's a lie here? The lie is that is not my higher power, right? And that is not a higher power that I want to follow and lean on either. My higher power knew that knows exactly what I'm going to do before I do it. And that's part of my plan. That's part of my journey. That is part of the script, part of the book that is my life, right? Like, I believe that, our lives are like a book, right? Like, it's already been written. In that as I'm reading my life story, like, I don't know what's on the other page. I don't know what's at the end of the sentence. I don't know what's at the end of the paragraph. Something that, was read in a meeting recently, and I'm going to look this up really quick because it's really good. So let me find this really quick. It's it's from Thomas Merton, and it says, "My Lord God, I have no idea where I am going. I do not see the road ahead of me. I cannot know for certain where it will end, nor do I really know myself. And the fact that I think that I am following your will does not mean that I'm actually doing so. But I believe that the desire to please you does in fact please you. And I hope I have that desire in all that I am doing. I hope that I will never do anything apart from that desire. And I know that if I do this, you will lead me by the right road, though I may know nothing about it. Therefore I will trust you always. Though I may seem to be lost and in the shadow of death, I will not fear, for you are ever with me, and you will never leave me to face my perils alone." Like, man, that's powerful. Like, just being able to admit that, like, guys, I have no idea where I'm going. I don't know where this road leads me. I have no idea. Like, that in itself is scary. And I can sit here and say with certainty, like, earlier on in recovery, like, man, I couldn't say that at all. I could not admit that I didn't know where I was going. To admit that was, for me, meant to admit defeat. But to sit here where I'm at today and say, yeah, guys, I have absolutely no idea where I'm going or where this is taking me, or I don't even know what the rest of my day is going to look like. Like, I have no idea. I literally have to trust that God is going to direct me and guide me. And man, that is like acceptance and surrender on a whole different level. On a whole different level, and it's a hard level. It's a hard level to stay at too. Like, it is not easy to wake up and be in that lane every single day. Um, yeah, that's really tough. But man, what a powerful reading though. Like, mm, that like it. You mean so? It's like essentially like, okay, so you're telling me that it's okay not to know. I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed to not know. Like, wow. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, and that's acceptable, right? I think that in the systems and the cultures and things that we've grown up in, like the I don't know was always unacceptable. Like, oh, you have a question for me and I don't know what the answer is? Oh, that's not allowed. You have to know. Why don't you know? Um, yeah. Hmm. Just growing up with that mindset of like, I have to know. I have to know where I'm going. I have to know what I'm doing. I have to know the answers to the questions, right? Like, think about this. Like, you're in school and teacher calls on you. And, hey, what year did Christopher Columbus sail the ocean? Um, and if you don't know, like, it is not acceptable to say, I don't know, because that comes with embarrassment. You might get shamed in front of the class. Um, so I think I've really carried that with me. I think a lot of people have probably. I can't be the only one. I'm not alone in all of this. And I'm not unique in all of this either. Um, yeah. Not knowing is to me was never acceptable. But in that reading that I just read, it is acceptable. It is acceptable to not know where I'm going. And that is okay. And that gives me some, I don't know, some peace, right? Like that takes the pressure off. Um, and that's like what I've been trying to like incorporate in my program recently, because I heard that, I don't know, probably 2 weeks ago, I think. But just like trying to take the pressure off of me, like, because I get so, like around the studio and class, like I have to do this all, man, and I have to get it right the first time, and that, I got to do this on my own. Um, like, I don't have to do this on my own, and I'm not doing this alone. Like, God is with me. There's another thing that I heard in a meeting recently, which was really powerful. And it was someone saying, like, before he goes and does something that he doesn't want to do or is scared about something, he will take the time to say, God, I don't want to go and do this because I'm afraid. Hey, will you come with me? God, I am afraid. I don't want to do this. Will you come with me? Whew. You want to talk about inviting God into your life? Yeah. You know, take the pressure off of myself and ask God to come with me when I'm scared. You know what? Like, that's where I need to be. That's where I want to be too, right? Like, I need to be there, and I also want to be there, right? Like, how often does my wants and my needs like align with each other like that? Because that's where I want to live. Because that is a place of acceptance. That is a place of surrender. Doesn't always necessarily mean peace, but there's comfort there in knowing God's got me. My friends got me. I'm okay because I have these things, and I want these things, and I need these things. when my wants and my needs align. That's the goal. That's where I'd like to live. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely want to live there and try to stay there to the best of my ability. Hmm. Hmm. Just take a minute to just kind of reflect on that. Um, Again, and this is what I love about this space and what I'm doing here is like when I'm in here and when I'm talking to you guys, I am able to come up with these things and kind of like connect a lot of these dots again, part of the program is talking about this stuff. And that if it stays in my head, it just goes around and around and around. It's like a hamster on a wheel. Like there's never any like movement forward with it. Now, with where I'm at in life and program, like I can come up with things, but a lot of the times, like I need to talk about it. In order to talking about it breaks down that hamster wheel and allows me to kind of move around the roadblocks. And yeah, I am really, and I'm really grateful for that. I'm grateful that I have this space to come in here and do this because, again, I'm kind of putting things together as I go. In a lot of these episodes, I'm really working through and processing a lot of this stuff and making connections that I haven't been able to make on my own, just inside my head. It's funny because this is almost like a conversation with myself. Even though I'm putting this out and people listen, but this is really just like an out loud recorded conversation with myself. And I don't know about you guys, but I love talking to myself. I do it all the time. There's definitely times where I probably look a little crazy. Just having conversations with myself, and in that connecting with myself too, right? Like part of recovery is, learning to connect with myself, like aligning with myself, getting to know who I am. And that's like the beauty of the program and a gift. And a gift. Hmm. Hmm. It truly is a gift, and I'm really grateful for this gift. I'm really grateful for the things that I have going on. And I'm very blessed, and I'm loved, and I'm supported. And I thank all of you for joining me on this journey and for loving and supporting me just the way that I am, no matter where I'm at. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. Go check out the social media accounts on Instagram. It's no_lions_here. Same with YouTube. Go give me a like. Go give me a subscribe. And be on the lookout because I'm going to start. Again, I've already got stuff posted up there. Haven't had a time to record yet. To let you guys know that, like, hey, okay, we're out there. Go show me some support. And, do me a favor. Pass the podcast along. Again, that's kind of like, that's where I've gotten the bulk of my growth from all of this is just, people liking what they hear and sharing it with those around them. And so keep doing that, guys. And I really appreciate the support. I can also be reached on my socials too. If you're on Instagram, feel free to DM me. Now, I don't always have, because again, I don't have the app on my phone. It's on my laptop that stays here at the studio. But if you need to get a hold of me, if there's any topics that you want to hear discussed, nolionshere@gmail.com. Again, that's nolionshere@gmail.com. Go check out the website, nolionshere.com. Again, that's nolionshere.com. Go check us out, guys, because I'm moving, man. I'm excited. I'm really excited too because I'm gonna start getting guests on, getting guests back on. I got I got some BAI guys coming on soon, and just some other people. I'm gonna have my sponsor back on soon. I want to have Chelsea back on again. Just guys, I want to keep pushing this thing, keep spreading the message, keep spreading the hope. Like, hope's out there, help is out there, and we all deserve it, right? Like, there's never a time in our lives where we deserve less love. We always deserve more love, no matter what. I deserve more love, not less. All right, I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me on my journey. Keep coming back. It works if you work it, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.